Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Cold. But I got myself all warmed up in a Deadpool. What do you call these things again? I can't think of the word. Robe. I was going to say hoodie, and that's not it.
It looks like a good friend got you that.
Yeah, I know. Tactix is dope friend. I'm kidding, Umar. You know you got this for me.
T, I also got your Batman one, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I need to get myself one so that we can at least all hang, or you guys can get me one for my birthday.
You got the Magneto one though, right? Or is that that's
a hoodie?
Yeah, it's a hoodie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then you got the Flash onesie.
It got holes in it.
Really? What the fuck are you doing?
Moving on.
Anyway,
no good transition off of that.
No. I don't know how to transition on that one.
Oh.
So we might as well jump into our. I thought that was going to be your segue, T.
Me, I don't segue shit, bro.
Anyway, so everyone who's watching the taping and not the live video, please do click on our descriptions below to see the timestamps so that you know which topics you can click to directly. But we would prefer you to listen and watch from the beginning to end. Now, so for our first topic, well, actually, for the first several set of topics, we are going to do some geeky news. We've been off for a couple of weeks, so we've got quite a lot to catch up on, and still more and more coming along. This week has been quite the stream of rumors going out about. So our first one is we got a full-length trailer of the Wednesday TV series coming up on Netflix. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks back because, Tactix, I think you're a fan, and Darcy, you have some, if I remember correctly, you have some familiarity with the Addams Family. I have watched the first movie, I think, and that's about it. I've never watched anything outside of that. So, I wasn't a big fan of the teaser trailer that came out, and I was like, meh. But you guys had a lot of interest. I will jump ahead with my opinion right now. I did see the full-length Wednesday trailer. I will say that the full trailer has intrigued me. It's it looks like Tim Burton has returned to form. It feels like his when he first came out, and I'm thinking Edward Scissorhands era of and also Batman era. Watching the trailer made me nostalgic, and watching the actors, the way the story looks like it will be proceeding, it fascinated me, and I am actually interested to give it a try, which is a fair bit higher than what my last response, which was meh. So, but I am interested to see what you guys think. Tactix, I'm going to start with you because I remember you being the more excited one. So, what did you think of the full-length Wednesday trailer?
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, or for what it is. I like this actress. I forget her name, but I've seen her in a couple of movies, and I think she's solid for her age. I agree with Maybot. I would kind of like it to be like a dark comedy, but I feel like it's going to take on the same vein as that of what's it called, Riverdale and Sabrina the Teenage, or well, it's Sabrina, but kind of what they did with those series where they kind of revamped it and made it more dark, which could potentially be interesting given the source material of the Addams Family. And it's cool to see Christina Ricci come back.
I saw
obviously not playing the same role, but they brought her back as like a little bit of nostalgia, which is cool. I'll check it out. I don't really have high hopes for the series, but I'm interested enough to see where it goes. So I'll give it my 3-episode watch before I come to a final conclusion. But yeah, like the final trailer looks interesting. We finally got what's his name? Uncle Fester.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah.
Uncle Fester is being played by Fred Armisen, and the actress who's playing Wednesday Addams is Jenna Ortega.
That's it. Yeah.
What's she been in?
Nothing you've seen, but she was in what's that show? You, and she was recently in this horror movie called X, and she was in Scream. One of the Scream movies, the latest Scream movie. So yeah, definitely nothing you've seen, Umar.
Nothing I would have checked out. How about you, Darcy?
Yeah, so I just watched the trailer while you guys were talking. It was the one thing I hadn't gotten around to. I'm so the actress looks like she's gonna body the role in terms of being able to like get the character down, and other people look like they're gonna do a good job being the characters that they need to be. I'm just like Tactix is saying, I'm concerned about this like tone where it feels like it's like a mystery to be solved, and I'm like,
it's a mystery. It's a supernatural mystery comedy. That's
yeah,
what
like
it's described of.
Like I was trying to feel like I don't know why, but it was making me feel like halfway between the Addams Family tone, that kind of like Tim Burton tone, mixed with what is that show? It's a Netflix show with a group full of superheroes, like children. They're raised to be superheroes, and they're like the least. Umbrella Academy is what I'm trying to go.
Okay.
So it kind of feels like Umbrella Academy for some reason to me, and like the trailer does, and like I'm like I don't remember Addams Family strongly, but I just kind of remember it being like a bunch of random, like the family wants to go, like this is what I remember, and Tactix correct me on the details that I'm gonna be wildly off because it's like a child's memory, you know, when you're thinking back in movies. But I remember like the Addams Family wanted to go to like summer camp or like whatever kind of camp with their family, and they go to this thing, and it's like all the hell ensues because Wednesday is like, you know, ready to torture kids, and it's like they're just doing normal family things, but they're completely morbid and crazy people inside of normal things. That's how I remember Addams Family. I could be wildly off, but that's what I remember as a child. And this feels to me like mystery solving problems. That doesn't feel like what I remember. But I mean, Tactix, how far off am I?
I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't even know what the Addams Family are in terms of like, are they dead? Are they alive? Like, why are they so weird? I never really understood that shit as a kid. I just grew up and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then now, as you're asking this question, I'm like, what the fuck are the Addams Family? I have no idea.
I do want to point out that it sounds like you're a very accepting human being. Like, you know, these people are weird as fuck, and you're just like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, they never lived on my block, so that was cool. So like, I probably think differently if they were my next door neighbor, but yeah, I don't know what they are, man. So
I thought they were just a really like, it was funny that these people are like the most gothic and like psychotic people who just happen to be like a normal, like a family.
Yeah, but they got the walking hand and like the like lurch and shit.
Oh
like,
shit, yeah, I forgot.
And then the fucking thing with the hair, I'm like, yo, these people aren't normal. Like,
yeah, it's always felt like an unexplained, supernatural, completely morbid, like death has become this family and they don't die even when they kill each other kind of people. And it's not explained why they live, but it's like, we're not going to explain it. We're just going to drop them in normal society. And it's funny because they're that far gone and they do things to other humans that's kind of reminiscent of like Beetlejuice. Right.
Yeah.
And that's really like, I don't know, the appeal. And I hope that there's a lot of it. And like in the solving of the drama, you know, whatever the story could be good if it doesn't overshadow for me that tone of like, well, in this situation, a normal person would do this, but the Addams Family is not normal. So they're going to do this. And it's like, what did they just do? And like, well, that kid's got to be dead somewhere.
So Maybot has a comment. She says they were supposed to be the counter to the Leave It to Beaver, like how Marriage with Children countered Wonder Years. Interesting.
Yeah, like Leave It to Beaver. Right, I barely remember because I hated that show even when I was a kid.
Same
but it
here.
was like everything is perfect white picket fence, like suburban white family. Like, it's just like everything in life is good, and my kids are unbelievably obedient. And even when they make mistakes, it's spilt milk. Oh, we love them so much. Like, that was like the tone of everything. So yeah, this would be complete counter. This is like if 1 and -1, but this is -2. Like they were extra level opposite. So okay, that's good to I
still
know.
have a mild crush on Christina Ricci. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I loved her in like Casper.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
She was
was
in
so
Casper. I forgot about that.
I was like madly, deeply love. I felt like I was Casper, and like, how do you feel like you were the ghost? Like, oh, I want to be the dead kid. That's literally how dumb your mindset is as a child, because she's hot, and you're like, I'm into it.
I remember her in Sleepy Hollow. That's like the most clear memory of her I have.
I used to get her mixed up with who was the girl in Beetlejuice?
Winona Ryder? I can
Yeah.
see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Just because they both had this thing where they were in like dark stuff, so I was like, okay, yeah, it's hard to. The lines were often blurry with them.
All right. Well, nonetheless, the three of us are going to be checking out Wednesday when it comes out, and like Tactix says, we're going to give it each of us we're going to give it a 3-episode watch to see how we like it, and whether we will continue or not will be dependent on that. So we stay tuned for our future review of the Wednesday TV series. Moving on to our next bit of news, we saw the first trailer for Creed 3 this week. Now, I'm just going to say, this movie looks dope. I'm actually really excited for it. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it to you, Darcy. I've actually been really interested to hear what both of you have to say about this trailer, because it's been like relatively quiet. So like, Darcy, let's start with you. What did you think of the Creed 3 trailer?
So literally, like, you put this in the chat, and I click to watch it, and I get done watching it, and the marketing on this movie is good, because my girl like texts me right after I'm done watching it, and we're not even like near each other or talking to each other, and she's just like, we're watching this movie, and my response is, you don't like, say less. like you doesn't need to be said. Like, of course we're seeing this film. I'm like, I've seen the other two, why wouldn't I see the third one? This like it looks phenomenal, and all I can think of is like, it's like Killmonger versus Kang. Like, that's all I could think about, like, watching this. But this is really good. I was watching like a trailer reaction of this, and some people were putting out like, oh, we want, you should have like, before watching like what it was, they were like saying like, oh, Michael B. Jordan's character should go up against this person or that person. I don't know who they were referring to, but it was like somebody else's son, and it was just like a dumb idea.
Clubber,
and he's like,
Clubber Lang,
yeah,
Mr. T's character.
Yeah, and it's like
Mr. T from the Rocky movies.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But the thing is they're like, the guy was saying, is like, I don't really like that idea, because it's like, what's the next movie? He's gonna fight another person's son? Like, what is this like trend we're on? I like this because it's real, it's grounded, and you have a real clear arc here, because you have the first film, which is the kid with talent coming from like a rough beginning, right? And then him reaching heights and having to come to terms with his demons, right, to stay in those heights. And then the third film is his past from where he started, coming back up when he's trying to be the person that helped him in the first place in the first film. He's trying to be the one who takes the person like him out from that situation, but that's not how that's going to go. And that's the person he's helping is not the person, like, it's going to backfire, and now he's got to go handle it. And what does that mean? And I think that's already a really good, smart 3-movie arc that we have here.
Yeah.
And the actors in this, phenomenal. Like I said in our chat, the only thing that like is an unknown right now is Michael B. Jordan's directing skills. right?
Yeah.
But his best friend and production company partner is Ryan Coogler, right? Like after Fruitvale Station, after Black Panther, they started a production company together. So they clearly like Ryan Coogler's not around, you know.
Isn't Ryan Coogler writing this?
I didn't look into that detail. I just know it's Michael B. Jordan's directorial like movie, right? And so
Keenan Coogler and Zach Balin are screenplay and story by Ryan Coogler, Keegan Coogler, and Zach Balin.
there you go. So I mean that makes it even more solidified, and that like Ryan Coogler knows how to write,
Yeah.
and so I mean it's just like I just believe that like Michael would have beginning tips from his buddy along the way, but like that's the like the most unknown part, and everything else is packed full of like talent. And so I just think this movie is going to be a banger, and I'm super excited for it. So super excited.
T.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off what Darcy said, I'm super excited for this movie as well. These dudes make me want to work out in the gym for like 24 hours, man. Seriously, like the amount of like dedication that both of these guys have is phenomenal. Like you already know, like Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor in a lot of the movies that we've seen him in. Michael B. Jordan has proved himself time and time again. He's come a long way, and like to see him blow up and do such great things, and now take a director's role is a great thing to see. Especially as a black man, and like a young black man, especially. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. It looks dope. To Darcy's point about the people like talking about like where the storyline should have gone in terms of the next opponent for this trilogy. I agree. I don't think him fighting Clubber Lang's son would have been a good idea. It would have been played out because they already did that with Drago and his son.
Yeah, exactly.
So it felt like it would just it would have been a rehash. So
yeah, we just did that. Like,
yeah,
we just did that.
yeah, then it kind of gets into that campy corniness type of vein, and I'm not really for that. But what I have noticed, and I think I saw this someone else pointed this out in a video, but Jonathan Major's character kind of has the same bravado as Clubber Lang did in the previous Rocky movies, and then the storyline is kind of similar to that of Rocky 5, where in Rocky 5, Rocky takes on a young fighter under his wing, and he kind of like molds him and like mentors him, and then that young fighter gains success and then turns on Rocky, and then they have like a big fight at the end of it or whatever. The only difference is Rocky, I think at that point he had blown through all of his money, so he's actually dirt poor, and he goes back to Brooklyn or New York, wherever Rocky took place originally. But
Philly?
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, it was Philly. So it seems like this is kind of going to be a little bit reminiscent of that, but obviously from the perspective of Creed and maybe in a slightly different direction, which is interesting. So yeah, I loved the first Creed. The Creed 2 was also dope, and I'm sure Creed 3 is going to deliver just as well. So yeah, man, I'm ready for this, and it comes out in March.
True, I didn't pay attention to that detail.
Yeah.
Yo, I got a question for y'all. Ranking. Do you feel like Creed 2 is better than Creed 1, as in like this franchise is getting better with each film so far?
I was actually just thinking that myself. I'll come to my thoughts on the trailer in a second, but for me, I would say that I found myself resonating a lot more with Creed 2 because I remembered the Rocky movie with Drago in it. But I actually really loved Creed because I found it to be, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. With Creed 2, it kind of met and exceeded my expectations. With Creed, it kind of like sucker punched me, no pun intended, in terms of how much I liked it. So it's hard for me to decide which one I like more.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. I don't know where I would rank them, to be honest, because like you, Umar, I was very surprised by Creed, and it got so much to the point where it's like it made me want to watch the original Rocky movies again
Exactly.
because I hadn't seen them in years, and so like just to kind of get a refresher, because like I wasn't like a huge fan of Rocky back in the day. Like and I don't even think I watched all of them in order, to be honest. I think I watched like the first Rocky, and then I watched Rocky 4, then I went back and watched Rocky 3, and then yeah, but then they kind of grew on me as I got older. But then to when Creed came out, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let me check this out. But I didn't expect it to be as good as it turned out to be, because like you're kind of like piggybacking off of an already successful franchise from back in the day, and a lot of the times when Hollywood does that, it doesn't fare well a lot
Hmm.
of the times. But this was surprisingly really good, and then of course with the director who was attached to it at the time, Ryan Coogler, you know, um, and then Creed 2, what like now the stakes are raised, right? Because it's like you already have that expectation, and it was like, okay, well, you got to deliver. And of course they pull a Spider-Man No Way Home, and they bring back someone from the past and like make it like this big grandiose thing, right? And so it like Umar, like what you were saying, it met and then surpassed my expectations in that regard. So I really like what they did with that. And this one, I'm kind of piggybacking off of the hype of the previous two. I don't really know what to expect. I don't want to get my hopes up because, again, a lot of the times with like the third entry of a trilogy, it's sometimes not as strong overall. But I'm hoping that it kind of it remains on that same level, and it can kind of deliver on all three accounts. But we'll see.
How about you, Darth?
Yeah, I mean, so far I feel like number two for me is stronger than number one, and that's not a discredit number one. Creed is a phenomenal film, came out of nowhere, blew us all away, and then Creed 2 just did some things that it elevated with the storyline of the child being born deaf, and the struggles of their relationship. It elevated with Drago. It made I don't remember the villain, like the main bad guy in Creed 1. I don't remember who he is. I literally had to look it up, and I was like, I don't remember who
That's
that
true.
is. It was just it was like a no-name fighter to me. The things that were great about it were Michael B. Jordan, whereas the second one had a amazing antagonist, because it was unbelievably relatable, like to the point that you want a story for that character, a separate story, because they
Yeah.
are an anti-hero in their own story. And so I just really like I'm seeing like a strong trend here. I see in the trailer that his Creed's daughter is grown a bit in
Yeah.
this, and I feel like with the story they've been writing, I think that this could be a really strong film. I don't know if it's gonna be better, but than two, but it just has the foundation to be a multi-layered story. Him dealing with his past, him dealing with his success, him dealing with his family, and all of these kind of things, how they play against each other. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. So yeah, anyways, Umar, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
So I also really love the trailer myself. What I found interesting was I in his very recent set of films and TV series, like I've become almost like an instant fan of Jonathan Majors, and his acting I've always found to be very strong. And I think for me, I've noticed him the first was when he showed up as Kang for Loki in the season finale of Loki. And then we watched a couple other films with him, and it's interesting to me because like the Creed 3 is essentially bringing the best uh, villain aside from Thanos from Phase 3, which was Killmonger, and has him going up against the best villain in Phase 4, Kang, and having them just like go at each other. And like as Tactix said in a previous podcast, Jonathan Majors definitely got ripped for this. So yeah, I'm thoroughly looking forward to watching this. But I also like the fact that like just even from the trailer alone, you can tell that this isn't just like a silly punching movie. It actually has emotional weight to it just from a trailer, so we can only imagine what it will be like when we watch this actual film based off of the previous two films, for the same reasons as we've both all three of us have discussed. The success of the Creed films is not just the fighting, it's the story, it's the characters, it's the emotional weight to it. And I am all in for this one. I'll like first in line, let's watch this because this looks really good. So like yeah, I'm with you guys. This movie looks awesome, and I cannot wait to check it out.
But by the way, Umar, is it you're in love with his acting? The show is only got one season, and I think it's because he was so good that he got pulled away, and the show couldn't go on without him. But Lovecraft Country, the HBO series,
I saw him in the first episode, and like the first episode, I like, oh my god, I meant to go back, but like the weird thing is that show came across as a horror movie, and as Tactix has brought up many times, I like it's not for me.
yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't.
Well, it's
It is.
interesting.
It definitely is, but it's also it's the
It's
most.
not. Because
It's
for me, I found, and this may be a part of it, but like, and this may sound impolitic for me to say, so I hope I don't offend anyone by saying this, but like, the scariest parts of that show were the white people.
well, yeah, the show is very interestingly layered because it is a slight horror with fantastical creatures and mythological like magic on layered on top of like 1950s like Southern
Racism.
American racism. But that's not even this. If you want to talk about a scary show that layers racism, there's a show called They on Prime that my girl loves horror, and we couldn't get past like 5 episodes. She just like, I can't watch it. It's too much, and she had to walk away. And it was the racism part was as freaky as the horror part, and it was because it was super like accurate racism from like the original Compton, California, how it used to be a really prominent area and not actually a ghetto. And it's just like, oh, it's chilling. It's so chilling. You can't. Anyways, I digress. I'm gonna move off from this.
Yeah. So yeah, so I did see Jonathan Majors in the first episode of that. So and this is after Kang, because my buddy Jimmy was like, "Yo, you got to check this out if you liked him in Kang." But yeah, I'm not sure if I'll go back to Craft Country, but I'm not. That's not to say that it's not a good show. It's just the first episode was very good, but like I'm a big weenie when it comes to scary stuff, and like if racism is going to be worse than the scary stuff, then like you know why am I watching the show? It's just going to be me and it's a show inducing stress for me.
Yeah, it is. By the way, I misspoke. The show isn't They, it's called Them. Like super close. But just anyone who's really interested by what I was saying, who's listening to the podcast, the show is called Them. It's on Prime. It is fantastic, and I can't finish it. That's how good it is.
All right, moving on to our next topic, which happens to be focused on an announcement surrounding our very own beloved Matt Reeves. So it has been reported that in the midst of all the insanity that is happening with Warner Brothers Discovery's mishandling of everything, really. Like honestly, it is quite a thing to behold as we go step by step. Like it's just, yeah. Anyway, Matt Reeves is reported to be developing a series of films, almost like a DC movie franchise, where yes, he's doing the Batman. Yes, it's going to still be a trilogy, as I recall, but also he is creating spin-off movies about the villains. Like it's very possible we'll be getting a movie focused on Two-Face, a movie focused on Mr. Freeze, a movie focused on, I don't know, Scarecrow. I heard something about Professor Pig. Uh, for longtime viewers, they will know that my stance when it comes to villain films. So, like, I can't say, though I'm a huge fan of Matt Reeves, I can't say this is encouraging news for me to hear, especially after all the idiotic things that I'm hearing from Warner Brothers Discovery. But I'm not. I want to know what you all think, especially UT, because like I think you and I share the same opinion when it comes to villain films. So I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on Matt Reeves developing a Batman supervillain franchise?
I hate this idea. I absolutely hate it. And
Thank God.
I'm just gonna be real. I've said it before. I love when villains steal the show. I don't like when villains are the show. And
Agreed.
they keep doing this trope where they want to dive deeper into the villain's backstory and make them and humanize them in a way that makes them more likable, where we understand their plight in terms of their whatever they're trying to accomplish. And it's just like I don't care. I want you to antagonize the hero. I don't care about your story and like who raised you and why you are the way you are. I don't give a fuck unless it's like a side story that is involved in the overall humans or the overall hero's storyline. I don't want to see a 2 hour film of a villain, right? Uh,
Amen.
I think what makes a villain interesting is like, I mean, look at it from like and I mean, I use this as an example all the time. We all do because it's one of the best representations of a villain on screen. The Dark Knight with the Joker, right? Heath Ledger's Joker. He pretty much stole the show in that entire movie, and it made him interesting. And on top of that, we don't know anything about this motherfucker,
Exactly.
right? And that's what adds to the appeal and the intrigue behind the character, where it's like he's creating anarchy, and like, you know, creating all these hurdles for the hero to overcome. And we all love a triumphant story of like the hero, you know, rising above, you know, any kind of opposition or whatever, right? um but when you're doing a movie that's centered solely around the villain, then it's like who, so now you have to find an antagonist to the villain. And a lot of the times it's going to be like society, like what they did in Joker, where it's like, oh, society did him wrong, so now we have to feel sorry for this dude, and now it justifies his behavior of murdering people. It's just like, I'm that's just not interesting to me.
And it's
um
kind of goes to what Maybot is saying. Will these movies be incel fodder? And like, I'm gonna say Joker definitely was incel fodder.
Yeah, and like what I was saying to you guys in the chat off air was I would rather them do like a TV series where they do it in the same kind of vein as that episode of Batman the Animated Series, where you have all the villains around the table playing poker or doing whatever the fuck, having pizza, it doesn't really matter, right? But they're all having a conversation and they're talking about the time that they almost got the Batman. And like every villain has, like, within a season, every villain has their own story, and then Batman makes an appearance in each episode. Granted, I understand that it's probably going to be really expensive, and you know, but something like that would interest me because it's still somewhat focusing on the villain, and you can kind of get a backstory of the villain, but at the same time it's like we're it's still about the hero's story, but just from the perspective of the villain. I think that would be a more interesting angle to take something like this, an idea like this, rather than just solely focusing on fleshing out a 2 hour film about the villain and us being sorry for feeling sorry for him. I just don't like that idea.
I'm in complete agreement with that. Darce?
Oh, I wanted to pretend like coming out of this like I'm like completely in love with this idea, but I'm gonna be on the hopeful side here. Not that like what you guys are anticipating to be that would be end up being good, but my hope is that Matt Reeves is either doing one of two things. He's either doing something kind of like what Tactix is saying, that like his desire, or he's purposefully on an ambition to do the thing that's like unthought of, right? Like that you can't do, which is to, tell a story with the villain as the main character and it be a good movie, without like humanizing these characters, but making you maybe like hate them more. I want to like steal a movie or a show that I'm like, I feel like I would want tonally this to be, and I don't think we've heard anything about whether Batman is or is not in this, and so I feel like this means it's totally applicable that Batman would show up in these, because either of these are like origins, but I don't feel like we're gonna get like long origins for multiple characters. I feel like that's a lot of money. I feel like there's gonna be multiple different stories from them at different points in their life. But I want to kind of pull from Death Note, where you start off and you have this story that is, in the way that this story goes, you think that they're like your hero, but by the end of it, you absolutely hate the character. Right at the end, you want the character to go down, and the two. If I'm like spoiling if people have watched the show, but the antagonists in the show are what you actually end up really rooting for and end up loving. And I feel like it could be very interesting depending on obviously what story you're doing, where you might want to have something like that. I don't want it to be like the Joker, where it's like a person descending into madness and it's just like showing a normal person and whatnot, but maybe you have like a villain who's starting off their murder spree, and there's maybe the person that the antagonist isn't Batman at first, it's Batman at the end as like a like who captures them, but it's somebody else that's trying to get them, like a detective, and the detective ends up getting killed by them by the end. So you're really pissed by the end of it, because you're watching this person hoping that somebody else is going to put them in jail, and they don't put them in jail. They end up getting brutalized, right? Like Professor Pig brutalizes the antagonist that you're rooting for the whole film, and you're just seeing it from the villain's perspective, and then Batman comes in and like ruins the main character's plans at the final end. Like they don't get to fully live out their ambition. I'm kind of like playing something up here to think like, how would Matt Reeves do this well? Because it's not like the thing I would jump for at first. I like Tactix idea the most because I think that could be really interesting, but I kind of feel like that's a short, small thing, not multiple films.
So I'm jumping off of what Tactix and what you're saying, Darcy. I'm going to go to Maybot's comment where she's like, you know how there is a true crime shows. I wouldn't mind a Batman Secret Files TV show. And to be honest, I think that like in the vein of true crime. To be honest, I think that along with what Tactix is saying, like the Tactix idea done through a true crimes, aka Batman Secret Files sort of show, that's the only way to do it properly. Because doing movies like multiple hours on villains, that's like fine. DC, you're trying to do your own thing where you're going to like try to make villains work. You haven't gotten anything else right so far. like, is this really the fine? You want to try something new? Go right ahead, but that's not what we want, man. Like that's not why we get into comics. That's not why we started watching these superhero shows. I enjoy the background information we get on Batman's villains. I like the fact that they're fleshed out characters who have fleshed out reasons. Blah 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 blah. That doesn't mean I want them to be sympathetic. I want them to be relatable. I want them to be understandable. I want them to be nuanced. I want them to be three-dimensional characters. But as Tactix has said, the Joker in Dark Knight, we didn't know anything other than the fact that he loved to kill and he loved anarchy. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's the Joker, though. I mean, like, and that's the character. That's a character that we shouldn't already have had like a backstory into. I think other characters, don't need to follow that rule. But Umar, the unfortunate thing here is that you can say that they haven't done anything well, but technically, regardless of our personal preferences, they did the Joker well, right? Like it's a huge successful hit, and it was and like I liked it from an artsy perspective, but I didn't like it from a like true like superhero DC perspective, right?
I had a problem with it, like from a sociological perspective as well as a comic book perspective. But like I
Yeah,
won't deny that like the acting was done well, the writing was done well. From a story perspective, it was successful. I just found it to have significantly negative connotations in terms of a reflection of our society, and also it kind of massively butchered the comics in an interesting way.
yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, if Sony can make a Venom film and then justify making a second Venom film because they're making money, then WB is definitely going to justify this idea. My only hope is that this is actually Matt Reeves' idea and not
That
WB's idea. Because if it's Matt Reeves' idea, then he's got something. He's got some personal ambition to do something and build this universe in a very interesting way. If it's WB's idea, oh, I'm gonna be really mad. But I don't feel like at this point they would turn around and be like, "You have to do it our way," considering what he's done already for them. So
honestly, the only reason I will be checking out these films is because of Matt Reeves is doing it. If it was, he's going against my grain, but I do find it interesting that like you said, like if this is his idea, I do find this interesting. Interesting is as far as I'm willing to go, though. All right. Moving on. Oh wait. Oh, sorry. Just Maybot is saying, I think it's important to be aware for preventative purposes. I think also she was saying she really liked Joker. Actually, it's an explanation, not an excuse. Again, I have personal issues against Joker, but objectively speaking, it was a decent film.
And are you building if they're gonna do this idea, are they building a universe around it where everything is gonna come full circle and connect in a single movie somehow, or are these just one-off villain movies? Like,
it is an interesting idea that like they're trying to create a Batman cinematic universe where instead of like basically the Batman films are the Avenger films where we're following the villains and then the villains are going up against Batman because like we've been building them up for so long.
But do any of the so let me ask you this. In terms of the villains, do they all have their own comic book? Like is there like a Riddler comic book? Is there a Joker comic book?
Joker definitely has had his own run. Mr. Freeze has had not his own run, but he's definitely had like very important roles in several runs. Bane has had his own run. Ra's al Ghul has definitely had strong storytelling towards his name. Riddler, I can't think of anything right now in the last little while. I haven't seen anything from Professor Pig or Mr. The Mad Hatter.
But are these are these separate issues, or are they all like within? Like you pick up a Batman comic book and it's like, majority of it is like telling the story from the villain's perspective.
They do,
or
they
is
do
it like
it's like so Joker has definitely had his own comic book.
Okay.
I think Mr. Freeze has had a very prominent role, if not like from his perspective several times from Batman that I've read. Bane has had his own story.
Like his own comic book.
I think so. It was a short run. These are short runs, but they have happened.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't like it. I still don't like it.
I'm with you, bro.
One more thought before we go. I haven't really, be honest, watched this film, but it's an older one. But I just was like scrolling and I saw this like thumbnail. American Psycho is a film from. Isn't that like a film that's from the
film?
Yeah, isn't that like one that's focusing on the villain who's doing all the killing?
Yeah.
Like I feel like an American Psycho with a character that properly suits it. Like that could be mentally where he's kind of going with like one of his ideas.
Not making them sympathetic, just making just us following the madness.
Yeah, like just following the madness. Because the sympathetic thing is what we all don't want, what we're hung up on. But like there has to be films where like you don't like the person, but you can't turn away. It's like watching The Accident. You're glued to it until it's over.
For me, my thing is like I don't mind movies like that when it's a self-contained story, but when it's like when you're basically when the source material is a Batman property, at the end of the day, you're just you're like, yeah, you might be interested in the villain, but at the end of the day, you want to see the villain go toe to toe with Batman. That's what you're like anticipating. Like the whole time, and this is just me. I'm not talking about you guys or anyone else who's in. I know Maybot enjoyed the Joker, but for me, I was just kind of like, I want to see some Batman references. I know I'm not going to get much, but like that's kind of what I was waiting for throughout the entire movie, right? And so I think for me, I feel like I'd still always be in anticipation of like there being like a little Easter egg of Batman showing up in this story at some point.
But Tactix, I feel like you're also assuming that he won't, because Sony did that because of their stupid contractual issues with Spider-Man, right? But they don't have that problem, so very likely they would.
I would say that look, this can work if, kind of like what you were saying, Darcy. Like we see the villains; they're kind of going up against things, they're getting things done, and at the end, the antagonist of their film is Batman, but like we're actually rooting for Batman to stop them, especially for seeing it from a like American Psycho perspective. Like if we're watching a movie about Scarecrow or Mr. Freeze, or not so much Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow and what's his name? The ventriloquist. Those would be films I'd be happy seeing the villain from the villain's perspective up until the end, where Batman comes up and like stops them. And like you're saying, Darcy, like they don't have contractual issues. Like Robert Pattinson may like end up getting a lot more contract work by like just having short cameos in these films as the antagonist, which I would be fine for. Like I would actually start enjoying the villain films, because that way when the next Batman movie shows up, Arkham will be a lot more filled in, but we'll actually know the people in Arkham.
You know, I also had another movie idea. I'm like trying to like make this more positive, because I'm just hoping Matt Reeves is does
I
good
like
job.
your positivity.
But what about like a Catch Me If You Can horror kind of like tone? So like you're the villain, you have a villain who's really smart, and you keep seeing Batman throughout the film, but it's showing you how they keep evading Batman. Right, which is like, that's interesting because Batman shouldn't be easily evaded, but how do they get invaded? Instead of seeing Batman getting befumbled, you're seeing them doing it to Batman, and by the time you get to the end and Batman actually captures them, you are so hyped for Batman to win at the end, because you've seen like how you're like, oh man, he's not gonna get through this part, damn it, he couldn't get him. And like it's just like that kind of thing. I don't know, it's like just ideas kind of pop in my head. It's like, how do you tell this story and do it well without it being like, we don't want Venom. We know we don't want Venom. So what do we want, you know?
So okay, so if they do it that way, and then at the end of all of this, they're building up to like an Arkham Escape from Arkham kind of thing,
Ooh.
I might be on board with that.
And then it's all Batman.
Yeah.
Side of things.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Because now you're building it on like some MCU Thanos type shit, that where it's like it's leading to like Escape from Arkham kind of thing.
I like that, because then Batman does become like an Avengers film almost.
Yeah. Then I could be on board with that.
Yeah, this actually makes a lot of sense in the perspective of like, why would you do multiple villain films if you were going to do an Arkham based film? So like, let's say he does a Batman 2, which is in the middle of all this stuff, but like you have all these villain films leading up to Batman 3, and Batman 3 is an Arkham, like giant Arkham film with all of these villains he's put away, and now he's got to like go and deal with them getting out or something.
Maybe okay, because the thing is, he said, I think he was the one that said that he wasn't planning on using Joker in the second film, because he never actually asked Barry, whatever the guy's name is, who played Joker briefly, to return in Batman 2. So what if like he's saving Barry for like a future movie, and they're building up to Arkham, where Joker is like the head honcho responsible for that whole escape from Arkham type thing. And like you said, Darcy, in between they're setting up all these villains and creating their storylines in between the movies. And at the end of the trilogy, or however long they want to extend this Batman universe, they do their final Arkham Escape from Arkham with Joker as
Aren't
the
they
main
doing an
villain.
Arkham Asylum TV series?
Oh,
Isn't
are
that
they?
Gotham?
Or I thought they
That's Gotham, like the
one of
PD.
them got scrapped.
That may have been the one that got scrapped then, because like if they got scrapped, because that would be interesting. If actually the reason they got scrapped is because they're going to go about it the way you're describing.
Yeah, because I know
Mm.
at some point they want to do Court of Owls, but then they
That
also made mention of of Mr. Freeze. So I don't know.
Mr. Freeze in this universe is going to be a hard one.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
want to see it though. I
do.
I feel like Matt Reeves could just pull it off in a way that's just very interesting.
Maybot's really enjoying our.
Yeah, I mean, if they do it that way, like I could be on board with like a villain thing if I know that they're building to something like that, then I'd be more intrigued as opposed to them just having these random one-off villain movies that don't actually really go anywhere. They're just for the sole purpose of giving backstory to the villains. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you guys on this one. I'm with you guys on this one. Like if this is what Matt Reeves is aiming for, I will be interested a lot more than I was before.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Moving on to our next topic, which is kind of a. Oh, hold on. So Maybot is throwing out an idea of how to do Mr. Freeze as a butcher with a freezer, and he can't pay for his wife's medical bills. That's yeah.
That's why I started laughing.
So our next topic, it has to do with a rumor that seems to be mostly, if not fully, confirmed at this point. Sacha Baron Cohen. Can't say I've really watched a lot of that actor. However, he is reportedly and potentially has been already cast in the upcoming Riri Williams oh my god Ironheart MCU series, and casted as the villain Mephisto. Oh my god. Oh, that is just horrific.
And yet he looks like him though. Like he's got like the facial
The nose even fits.
Yep.
Anyway, so we have been all throughout watching WandaVision and also many times afterwards on this podcast, we have been discussing the possibility of Mephisto showing up.
Mostly you though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I recall a certain individual by the name of Tactix screaming out "Manifesto" randomly.
Because I don't know who this motherfucker is. Doesn't mean I'm excited. I just don't know who it is. I don't know why everyone's tripping over this guy making an appearance. I'm like, I do not care.
I will say the main reason people have been so obsessed with this guy Mephisto showing up is because we didn't get him in WandaVision. I think everyone was like just went on the Mephisto train for like so long, and then when it turned out not happening, everyone was like, "Yo, we better get a Mephisto at some point," just because we want to get it and we were denied. So I don't think it has anything to do with the character. I think it has everything to do with the fact that we just got denied. Nonetheless, I don't understand why he's coming up in Ironheart. This is just a random point to put him in. Like I would have expected him to show up in Spider-Man before Ironheart, but nonetheless, here we are. But he did say Manifesto. It was absolutely hysterical. But for me, I would have preferred him to show up in Doctor Strange 2. Or even in the Agatha Harkness TV series that's coming out. I don't understand why he's showing up in Ironheart. And also, like, I don't want him to be a throwaway character. I want him to be like something that we're building towards, like kind of like Kang. But that's just me. I feel that I'm gonna like pass it to you guys, and you guys are not gonna have. You know what, T? I'm gonna throw it to you, bro. What do you think about this idea? What do you think about Sacha Baron Cohen being Mephisto?
Bro, I could care less. Trust me on this. I have no idea who this character is. I don't know why he's such a big deal.
He's the
Uh
devil.
okay, cool. I don't understand how the devil fits into the MCU at all, but okay. But what I did hear
Ooh,
was that the Ironheart villain um supposedly in the comics apparently gets his powers from what is it,
Dormammu.
Dormammu, yeah, gets his powers from him. But because we've already seen him show up in Doctor Strange, and he's kind of this big giant cloud like they often do with a lot of these villains, um, they're not going to use Dormammu. They're going to instead use Mephisto and have this guy get his powers from him, right? So you know he's gonna be manifesting some shit. He's gonna manifest these demons and get these powers, and that's how he's gonna be entered into the MCU, man.
Quick
You know
question.
the worst part about this is I like ever since you brought it up, I've been fighting saying manifesto.
Oh, it's fucking you up. I know it. I know it.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
How about you, Dars?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about this character yet, but there are either one of two things I have thoughts of. One, Sacha Baron Cohen is a good actor. Okay, I mean, he literally the first time he dropped one of those whatever making fun of Americans film where he pretends to be somebody he's not,
All right.
people thought there was a real person for a long time. Okay, not an actor playing a role. Like they thought that was a legit human doing a documentary. Like so, I mean, that also in and of itself just plays into the joke that he was making. But like it just makes it better. But anyways, he's a good actor. He can kill anything. I mean, look at that shot right there. I mean, that man, if he wants
Yeah.
to be dark, he can be dark. So absolutely. On the other hand, if they don't really want to use Mephisto, then this was just a really fun way to just do a throwaway character, have him show up and have him peace out. But I kind of feel like Sacha Baron Cohen is just gonna come in here and like steal a show and
I hope so.
really just like make people go, what? Because he can act eccentric and dark and all kinds of things, and so I think that I think I think he could kill it.
That's actually a really interesting picture, T. And also, Maybot apparently is watching us from Scarborough Town Center. Is trying not to pee from laughing from your manifesto conversations.
Go ahead, P girl. Let it out. Let it dribble a little bit.
Yeah, just take the podcast to the bathroom.
And Ron R agrees with you, Darcy. So okay, I will say that I am interested to see him like he wasn't my first choice, but at the same time I am not discounting him as an actor, like you're saying, Darcy. I could see him pull it off. I want it to be done properly. So let's just move on before I start calling him Mephisto Manifesto for real.
Yeah,
anyway,
let's manifest our way into the next topic.
Exactly. So our next topic has to do with another piece of casting that's taking place this past week. This one was rumored, and now it has been confirmed. Harrison Ford has been cast in the MCU, and he has been cast to replace the late William. Oh my God, William Hurt. Yes, William Hurt, who played General Thunderbolt Ross in the previous films, from all the way from Incredible Hulk all the way to Endgame. So he is going to be it's potential no, the fact that they're casting Harrison Ford, it means that he has clearly the Thunderbolt movie is coming out with Helena and a whole bunch of other people. So clearly he's going to be in that one, and he's going to be either working with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character or is going to be working against her. He's also said the character's also supposed to show up in the new Captain America movie with what's his name? Captain America New World Order with Sam Wilson playing Captain America, which is interesting because if I remember correctly, Carl Lumbly was also cast as to reprise his role as Isaiah Bradley. It would be interesting to see an interaction between Carl Lumbly and Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross. If they're going to go that route. Now, this is the picture that Tactix has put up is I can't remember if was it Boss Logics who did this, T?
I don't know. I just found it.
Someone this has been circulating on Twitter a lot, and this is a concept view of Harrison Ford portraying the Red Hulk. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Red Hulk is a villain and foil of the Hulk that was Thunderbolt Ross, basically taking his anger towards Hulk to a whole nother level, and just like injecting himself with whatever it was to basically become a Red Hulk who was stronger than Hulk, and ultimately his daughter Betty Ross became the Red She-Hulk. It became a big thing. Nonetheless, we are interested by the casting of Harrison Ford. I didn't think they would get him, but apparently he likes money. And so he is going to be playing Thunderbolt Ross for the foreseeable future, as long as, knock on wood, his health remains intact. I find this to be a really interesting casting, especially with the fact because I was wondering if they were going to drop Thunderbolt Ross with the passing of William Hurt, but this is the first time they've recast the character due to death, not due to issues. So I'm very fascinated to see where this will go. I am interested, especially what you two think. So Darcy, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this casting?
Definitely was surprised. I mean, Harrison's an older man, and I'm surprised on that casting on that aspect. But at the same point, I'm like, I mean, that's big. I mean, I know he'll kill it at being a military individual. Like, his surliness will just come through. So I mean, I think it'll go well. It makes me feel like this can't be a long-standing character. Like, it's like a couple of things. Movies. He really got you there, Umar.
Sorry, it's morbid, but I hear what you're saying.
I don't mean that like Harrison is like in bad shape, not that I'm aware of. More just the idea that, like, when you get an actor and you're like, oh, I want to put them over 5 films, and that's going to take 12 years to do. You don't start casting people that are much older, right? It's just like they're not even going to want to be commit to something for that period of time. So likely he's going to film something over like a couple years or a year, where they just film all of his stuff in a short span, and spread it out, right, where they need to use it. And that would I just don't feel like it's it's gonna be a long-standing character based off of that. Like, I don't see him doing more than 3 to 4 years of filming for Marvel, is what I'm saying. Like,
I hear
that. So
damn, y'all sending him to his grave already, bro.
more like I don't think Harrison Ford has the patience to sit around for 10 years.
You were talking like you were like, yo, you don't think he has a time? Like, legit. Like, he already got his foot in the ground. That's what you're saying, yo.
I mean, dude's 80. I'm just teasing.
No, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was kind of surprised too. I was like, yeah, I was caught off guard. I was like, yeah, but then I realized, okay, well, he doesn't really have to do all that much if he's playing the Hulk or playing Red Hulk. They just put him in a mocap suit. He moves around, and they could just like tweak it and make him do like all kinds of crazy shit. So, I mean, That's an easy paycheck, I think.
That's true. That's if they give him the Red Hulk situation, though.
Yeah, they walk up to him and they be like, "Okay, sometimes
Yep.
you show up to set, but then sometimes you just do what Vin Diesel did when
Yeah.
recording Groot. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
Sit in the
Yeah.
booth, show up in your pajamas.
Exactly. And even if he is just like doing the general thing, then like it's not like the other dude was really doing all that much either. He wasn't on the front lines with the Avengers fighting and shit.
Nah.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, if he's just doing the general stuff, I mean, like, spot on.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in a chair in a uniform.
Yeah.
I love
I'd
how
sign on for that.
we're basically like checking this boy's pulse to make sure that he's ready. He's ready for the commitment.
Yeah.
Well, we know Marvel will be out here like putting people down for like long ass contracts. I'm just saying,
It's
like,
true.
you know, be like Harrison Ford. Like, will you be willing to play this character until you are 95? Like, that's like, because that's what they do. You know, time wise, not like age wise. So.
Oh, you put Maybot's comment on.
Damn, she coming for Harrison Ford, yo. Like, wow.
Okay, so for those of you who are listening to the podcast, Maybot says he doesn't even have to be in a mocap suit. He might die. A stuntman can be in it. They can just mocap his face and keep his likeness in license.
Maybot is reckless, yo.
Just
those are facts, though. Those are facts. I was thinking too. I'm like, yo, if he starts doing stunts in a mocap, he might have a heart attack.
Nah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, half of them don't do their own stunts and mocaps. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there's a lot of fun in this podcast. All right. So moving on to our next topic. So we are going to one of our we're stepping away from our geeky news and now we're focusing on one of our big topics. One of our big topics is the most recent like there have been reviews and early reviews of the movie Black Adam. The movie came out officially is coming out today, but it came out last night as well for well, us in Canada. I'm sure people in the US as well. Nonetheless, the film has come out and it had early reviews and it also had early critic reviews. And let's just say that the film has had a unique split in terms of critics and early reviewers, and then also the audience. So let me just quickly pull that up. The early reviews was showing that the film was getting like a 50% or so. Now it has changed where it's now down to 42%. However, the interesting thing about the film is that it has a really high audience score of 88%, where, well, anyway, so the early reaction reviews, the people who couldn't say anything and just gave Twitter responses were just saying, this movie's fun, this movie's action-packed, this movie, you know, The Rock is The Rock and he's killing it like as usual. You know, it's not going to like win any awards, but like it's a good time. Then it's the critics' reviews were like, this film is it feels like a early 2000s action film brought to the modern day. The Rock is doing his job. The Rock is doing what he wanted to do. All that said and done, the graphics are there, the action's there. I don't know what the audience has been saying, but based on the audience score, apparently they're very happy with Black Adam. Now, I don't know if that's them being frustrated with the DCEU beforehand or just like superhero movies in general. Nonetheless, we have had quite a interesting and diverse and divisive view of this film. Now, us three are going to be watching it tomorrow night, and we will be
two of us be watching it. One of us has already seen it.
I will still be watching it with y'all.
You whole ass bitch.
I will.
Used up
known
corneas be out there rewatching this thing. It's already imprinted in your brain. Okay,
I am not a whole ass bitch. I am just an adulterous slut.
Yeah, okay, that really improved all
Yeah.
that. That was like the exact same thing rephrased.
So, I wanted to ask, because I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to give anything away. However, we are going to do our out of the movie reaction and posting it online later this weekend. But I do want to hear what your pre-thoughts are for watching this film. T, let's start with you, man.
So I just did a quick look on IMDb because that's my movie site of choice, and it gave it a 7.2, which I was surprised because I was based on like the critic rating. I was hearing a lot of for example, on Rotten Tomatoes, that score was super low. So I was like, oh man, what am I getting myself into? But I watched John Campia's reaction video, his quick out of the theater reaction, and he said it was enjoyable. It's an incohesive mess, but overall, the
I love how you just slipped that in. It's like, it's fun. It's got incohesive mess, but it's fun.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, I'm just looking for a good time. I mean, as long as there's somewhat of a story there and there's good action and it's entertaining, I'm good. I mean, what I'm really excited for, which has already been ruined for me, unfortunately,
this is I think I know, because this is literally the worst kept secret I have ever.
Like that could have just accelerated this movie to another level if I didn't know that was coming, and now that I do, it's kind of it's similar to No Way Home, how that shit got ruined for me, but that movie had so much going for it, like so much jam packed that wasn't spoiled for me, that I was kind of like, okay, like that's.
But you were in doubt, like like we had the actors lying through their fucking teeth.
Yeah, but I was kind of like, I don't know, is it? Aren't they?
Exactly.
Like,
there was
doubt.
I mean?
Yeah, and then, but I wanted to hold on to that doubt until I was in my seat and I saw them on screen. Once you see that moment, it still was a great moment. But anyway, forget it. We're not talking about Spider-Man right now. My point is, I would have loved to have just kind of been like going in and be like, oh, this is a fun movie, and then see the end credit scene and be like, oh shit, Henry Cavill's back. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yo,
I mean, if you don't know by now, then like,
hold up. This comment that Maybot dropped earlier was actually for Umar, but I'm gonna drop it for you, Tax, right now. Let me put this up on screen.
I'm sorry, man. That was not intentional at all. My apologies.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cat's out of the bag.
Again, it's the worst kept secret.
Hey,
like,
I haven't even seen the movie, and it's ruined for me. So
you know what though?
If it gets ruined for me, it's getting ruined for everyone.
You know what though? Y'all. You know what? This is WB's like marketing tactic. They're like, hey, Batman, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be good. Let's just show them Doomsday. You know, like that should hype them up. And then this one is like, I don't know, this movie's gonna do well or not. Let's just also drop the fact that Henry Cavill's coming back.
The Rock even said it like he just announced it.
Yeah, he knew.
He tried to be slick about it too, though. He was like, yeah, there's a lot of changes happening, and like, it's a welcome home party. I'm like, you motherfucker, you know exactly what you're talking. You know what you're doing, man. Welcome back party. Who are we talking about? We don't know anybody from the Justice Society or whatever it was. Like, who we welcoming back? Who we bringing back?
Aquaman.
That motherfucker never left.
Can you imagine though? Like that's who shows up in the film. Like,
oh man,
yeah.
Oh man, but yeah.
Oh yeah, continue.
I don't even know what else I was saying. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to be a good time. That's all I'm hoping for.
Darcy?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like this. My expectations are it just better be like the Fast and Furious of superhero films.
Whoa.
Yeah, like
Wait, which one?
the as good as in the series as I can get from this film, whatever that turns out to be. Like, so I have a couple thoughts here. So one, technically we didn't need Henry Cavill to promote this film because The Rock is a powerhouse in bringing bums to seats. But I feel like, if The Rock is going to drop drop that rumor, he knows that like he needs the help. Like he's like, I put a lot of work in this film. I put 15 years in this film, and these hoe ass bitches fucked up the edit. So we go and drop that. He probably went back and forced them to put Henry Cavill to do that fight scene after the fact. It was probably just filmed 3 weeks ago, and he's just like, we're doing this because y'all screw this movie up. We ain't got time to fix the whole thing. The thing that is interesting though, so going back to like the critic review, and Umar, you were saying like, the difference between the critics viewing this maybe as like a superhero film and and like the audience feeling different and all, whatever. My thought is that The Rock brings his own audience, and there are probably people watching this film who've never watched a DC film before or have watched a sparing number of DC or Marvel films, right? Like people who are asking the question like, when does Iron Man show up in this film, right? Like literally have no idea of what's happening, right? And like I think that there's going to be people who show up to this and go, man, Rock with superpowers is so dope. They don't even know what Black Adam is. They don't know any of this stuff, right? And so I think that just is going to play a factor in this movie being successful, period. I think this movie was bound to be successful, period, regardless if this was a 10% rating. I think this movie would have made money, like just facts, because Rock has put out a couple of subpar films, and they've been profitable. So I'm just hoping that like the action's good, because my expectation of this film is that the plot is just a means of serving you fight scenes. Like it's not a story. It is how can we get through these fight scenes? And as long as this film gives me as much battle as Man of Steel, I'll be great. I actually, now you know me, I like Man of Steel. I like the story of Man of Steel. But when that whole second half of that film went off and it was just nothing but fights, I was like, finally, a superhero film that gives me a lot of effing fights, right? Like I just want a more battle. And so if this film is just battle, I'll just turn my brain off for everything else. I'll use those moments where it's like, oh, this dialogue sucks. Hey, babe, can you pass the popcorn? Let me just like get in. Oh, they're fighting? Okay, cool. I'll pay attention again. So that's what I'm going in for.
Fair enough. Well, as we said, we're going to give you our out of the theater reaction probably Sunday or tomorrow evening. Nonetheless, you will stay tuned on this channel, and you will be seeing our initial spoiler-free reactions, because Tactix has already made the only spoiler that I mean, we can't really do less spoiler.
This is the best comment ever.
I don't care what it is. I always pull up for The Rock.
That's why his films go make money. Like, fundamentally, that is it right there.
Some people just want a good
Ron
action.
says some people just want a good action film. Facts.
You know what? That is facts. Because as you were talking, I was thinking of like The Raid, which the first one anyway. It didn't have much of a storyline, but jam-packed action throughout the entire movie. So, and I had a lot of fun with that. So if this movie is on the same level as that, that's all I can ask for.
The action was so good in The Raid that I actually
Raid.
Yeah, like the action was so good in The Raid that I actually made that film into an art film in my head.
I still want to see. I really hope Matt Reeves incorporates some of The Raid into what we're hoping is this Arkham like end third film, because like that idea that Ben Affleck had was fantastic, and it's like Arkham Asylum, The Raid, and I know they met. So I wonder if like Matt Reeves like, look, I can't do what you want to do. I can't work on your film. but I'll take that idea and I will build that into my universe. Is what I'm gonna do. Okay, yeah, it's a good idea. I'm gonna keep that one. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our final topic of the evening. We are going to do a overall review of the She-Hulk TV series. So all episodes have been dropped on Disney Plus, and the season finale has dropped as well, and we've all seen it. So I will say, I'll go first. I will say that I enjoyed the season less than I wanted to, but more than I was worried I was not going to. So it was kind of like a middle show for me. I had a good time. I liked a lot. I loved the fact that the entire series is practically just trolling online incel, like sexist asshole guys. Like I found that to be fantastic. I found the humor a lot of times to be really enjoyable, especially the fourth wall breaks. Love me some Daredevil. The episode that focused on him was great. Not just him, but like that episode was awesome. I wouldn't say I was a fan of the season finale, but like at the same time I respected it. Uh, I'm kind of hoping that this was kind of like one of those like uneasy season ones, and season two kind of like hits a proper stride and it kicks off. But at the same time, I don't think this show was geared to me, and I'm okay with that. I still enjoyed it, but it's not my favorite. So for me, I'm going to give the series a 6.5 out of 10. Uh, would I rewatch it? Probably not. But like when I watch season two, yes, I would. So I'm going to volley this over to my man T, who I can see he's just waiting to like go into how much he loved this series.
No, this series was terrible. It was fucking terrible. I'm sorry. That's not even a joke. I know you guys are waiting for a punchline, but it was. I just, okay. So I'll tell you what I did like. Actually, the finale was actually the only episode that made me laugh, but it was also the most infuriating episode because the entire series was building up to something, and then they dropped the ball at the very end, and we're left with nothing. It's like you established like a villain and a situation. You built up to it the entire series, and then you do absolutely nothing with it, and we get this long scene where they're talking about changes and everything, and then we don't even get to see the changes. The changes just happen, and then the show is over. And then on top of that, they fucking shoehorn Hulk's son with his fucked up haircut, and like
I knew that was
just
coming.
like
I knew that was coming.
He
I'm just
pushes
like
fade way
way
back.
back. It's just like, yo, give me party in the back and then nothing in the front. Just
Yeah.
like just fuck my shit up.
Yo,
I'm already green, so just jack my shit all the way the hell up. And I'm just like, yo, what, so you're not even gonna explain that? You're just gonna drop that in like it's nothing? Oh man, it did nothing for me.
They pushed his hairline so far back, it's still in Sicario.
Yeah.
Whatever. Don't kill the joke, Umar.
It was a good joke. It was
Yeah.
a good joke. But yeah, I didn't have fun with this, man. Like there were moments.
You were happy with the first episode, and you were happy with the Daredevil episode.
No, the first episode was great, and the Daredevil episode was also great. I really enjoyed that. The Daredevil thing is a little concerning. But
I don't find it concerning. I find
for me personally, just for me personally.
no,
But
I mean from your perspective, I don't think you need to be concerned because this was a comedy series which they adjusted him to the series. But
yeah,
based
fair.
on what they've been saying post, they are saying that it is going to be more serious.
Yeah, okay. So I'll reserve judgment until then. What else? What else did I want to say? There was something else I wanted to point out.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wasn't a fan. Was not a fan of this. I was
You
hoping
got
for
through
more.
it. I mean, you definitely liked it more than Moon Knight.
Yeah, I didn't even finish Moon Knight. But yeah, I like this a little bit more than Moon Knight, to be honest. But that's not saying much because this really didn't give me anything. Like this makes me more mad than what was the other one I didn't like? The WandaVision. WandaVision.
Phase 4 is you're not loving Phase 4, man.
Nah, man, not at all. Phase 4 hasn't given me anything yet. What is it giving
No Way
me?
Home.
Is that Phase 4?
Yes.
Or is it okay, then fair. Fine.
I thought you were also fine with Black Widow and Eternals.
That's Phase 4?
Yep.
Okay, fine. But what has it done for me lately, Umar?
What about Shang-Chi?
Okay, what has it done for me lately? I feel like those movies were like 3 years ago, man. Like lately, like what has it given me like today?
Like that was so good. Like, is there any other films we forgot about? Like, like damn.
Okay, so the shows are trash. The shows are trash. The movies are great.
Well, I thought you liked Loki.
I never said I liked Loki. I said it was okay, low key.
Okay, what about Falcon and Winter Soldier?
What about what?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It was all right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Okay, it wasn't spectacular. It didn't blow me away. What else you got? What if it had its moments? It was good.
Bro, you just...
I'm a hater, man. What can I say? Just let me hate, bro. Just let me hate a little bit, all right? Okay. Fuck Phase 4.
Wow.
All right, okay. So Maybot says the show wasn't She-Hulk, it was Jennifer Walters happens to have Hulk DNA, but also deals with entering the real world for the first time. It felt more of a coming-of-age type show for an adult person. And Ron R says maybe you just need the movies, not the shows. She's referring to the Tactix on that one.
Maybe she's right. Maybe I just need more movies, less shows, because the shows aren't really giving me much to work with.
Okay, all right. Darcy.
And sorry, I gotta say, just to Maybot's point, yeah, I get this whole coming of age thing, and I'm not hating on the coming of age story, but just give me more, like you can't tell me that this is like. I'm curious to hear what you guys gotta say about this show, because like I'm just like what's good? It's not funny, like sure, like her character's cool, but like the writing of this show is just terrible. Okay, sorry, not terrible, but the jokes are terrible.
I would say the writing is not for you.
Nah, it's just terrible.
You're a truist. You're a true superhero. Which we've talked about before. You hold true to the original style of superhero movies, which is ironic because that's what comic book people do when they refer to the movies. But so like you're having a problem with the deviation from the standard formula.
You ain't down with these deviants.
Yeah, I get that they're trying to like experiment and whatnot, but it just okay, I got it. I caught on late. I got it. Yeah, I get the whole experimental thing and them trying something new. It's just I don't know. I guess I was because I was expecting a little bit more Ally McBeal, but a little bit more from this character, and I don't feel like I got that fully. I feel like they were building up to something, and then they just kind of dropped the ball, and they didn't flesh it out enough. And
I agree with that.
Put it this way: while I didn't like the show, I see potential in the actress and the character to the point where I would be willing to give this show another season, another watch, because the potential is there. I like the character. I like the whole Deadpool type of like breaking the fourth wall type of thing. And to my understanding, I know She-Hulk started that whole thing in the comic books first. So I find that to be really cool. And I like she's great. Like her as She-Hulk, like everything, like it's great.
Tatiana's killing it.
She's killing it. absolutely killing. I have no gripes with her. As She-Hulk or as what's her name?
Jennifer Walters.
Yeah, phenomenal, amazing work. I want to see her do more stuff as this character. They just need to write the storylines better. Give her more to do. You know what I mean? Anyway, I've taken up too much of your time, guys.
No,
So
no, man. Like I'm
take it away.
happy with your point of
I'm
view, and
gonna
I'm like,
turn my mic off so you can't hear me all mad.
Darcy.
All right, so my time's been cut short because Tactix talked so long. Just teasing. So overall, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. However, so I was thoroughly enjoying every episode, and I got to the finale, and I was annoyed by the same thing Tactix was annoyed by, which is like you're gonna build up, then you're gonna change it, but when you change it, you're not even gonna show us the change. It just happened, right? And it felt like I'm trying to think of a good analogy. My analogy in my head is not appropriate for this conversation. But like building up to some big moment for it to be nothing, like nothing to happen, and it's just like lackluster.
I know what analogy he was gonna use. Yeah. And I just gotta say, you should have used it, bro.
I couldn't go there. I couldn't go there. And so I was over here feeling like, you know, it would have been like an 8.5, came down to like a 7 for me. And then I go, and my cousin is a hardcore Marvel person, reads all the comics since he was a kid, loves them, and started saying some stuff about this episode that made me go, if you're on the money about what's happening in that episode, then it's gonna make me really, really excited. Basically, She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall, goes to the writing room, does all this stuff, and I never thought the idea that who she's actually interacting with and what's actually all the changes are happening is coming from He Who Remains, Kang the Conqueror, the version that we saw in Loki. And I was like, wait, what is this idea? That
Wait, what?
his premise, his theory is that, and he loved it because the way he interpreted it was that when she says, I want these changes to be made, she's breaking the fourth wall. The being that's making those changes is He Who Remains. It's Kang. The version that we saw is making these changes and made the Kevin that we see. And that there was things on the Kevin robot that was reminiscent from, I forget what film he was talking about, but like from an older film, there was like the hat it was wearing and there was a lot of its mechanics that came directly out of the Loki show where where was the place where all the time cops were, or whatever you call it? TVA.
Yeah.
So it was the same type of machinery that was used in the TVA, and there was something it was wearing that was directly seen in one of the TVA offices. And so now it's making me go like, wait, if this is all what's happening, and there's other things popping up in other shows that ever since we saw Kang that is being manipulated, and which would explain why like Daredevil literally drops out of nowhere in the middle of nowhere. Like there's nothing to drop from. And if it was like if it's Kang manipulate, like her part of her power, her fourth wall, is that she's able to interact with him without knowing she's interacting with him. And he's just, all right, I'll deliver what you asked for, but I won't give you 100% everything you asked for. And that made me go like, and he said many more things. It made me go like, I literally didn't like this episode, and now I'm like super hyped off of what you said. But again, I don't know if this is true. But
I find that interesting.
Yeah, it's very, because we know that like there's a lot of power in this character manipulating the universe and manipulating the multiverse, and his general theory is something to the effect that this version is trying to manipulate the Avengers to fight the other Kangs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so working with Jennifer Walters in this way is like generally the theory. But anyways, for me, I'm hoping that that's true, because if it's just pure writing style for the show, it doesn't really make any sense. Why the hell is this son showing up out of nowhere? But if Kang is trying to like manipulate things and just is like saying like forget the writing, I'm not a writer, I'm trying to get things working the way I want them to work, and just slaps in this storyline, and then we get later on, we see Kang like go like, yeah, I had to throw that in now. I need to hurry this along, right? Then it would make all of these like mishaps very interesting in a future film or show of like Loki, where we're seeing that. It's just I'm like, I didn't grasp it, but now I'm like, Loki set us up to understand that what he said, like my cousin was saying, like the way things were being manipulated was how to put it. In Loki, there were what would they call it when they were changing time, and what would they call that like offense?
A Nexus event.
A Nexus event. So in Loki, we saw the Nexus events from the TVA's perspective. Now we're seeing the Nexus events in real time, and that being like, and he's creating these Nexus events, and things are just changing. And if this is a setup, then it means what else craziness will happen when we're in the middle of a film and we know Kang's involved, and it's just like, and all of a sudden it's worse than Thanos with a reality gauntlet, like a reality stone. It's like just rewriting stuff, and they're fighting against it. And how do you fight against something when it's just like rewritten like that? Anyways, it just intrigues me, and I don't know, but it intrigues me and makes this show better for me if that's what it turns out to be. Otherwise, this felt like the worst writing of a finale ever. It just like dropped the ball for me.
Yeah. So that is an interesting theory, but I don't think that's what they're going for. But I hope it is. I hope that's what it is. I can't really argue both of your points. I think the actors did a great job. I think the characterization is there. I think pretty much everyone wanted an Ally McBeal with Hulk powers that we just didn't get. But yeah, I'll say that like I'm surprised, Darcy, that you gave it higher rating than I do. T, what would you give the show out of 10?
I'll give it a 5.
Okay, so a 5, a 6.5, and a 7. Impressive.
By the way, I'm gonna give this hairstyle here the rating of, we're gonna go back into time, way back. Tactix knows what I'm referring to. That's a song.
All right. Well, that's it for all that we have on our agenda. So I'm gonna volley it back to you, T.
All right, guys, this has been another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. Thank you once again for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, favorite, and subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell so you can get notified when we go live or when we post things. We forgot to tell you guys that. If you guys are unable to watch us live or watch the videos, you can also check us out on Spotify, Geeky Bros Podcast. Until then, we'll see you guys next week. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
This is Big Geeky Umar. Messed up my name, but here we go, and live long and prosper, y'all.
Damn.